broadcasting live 4 days a week worldwide
from the sunny beaches of Southern California.
This is ExtremeHealthRadio.com.
This is Drew Canoli of FitLife.tv. You're listening to Justin and Kate of Extreme Health Radio. Remember, we're in this together.
Want an energy boost? Try Pure Hawaiian Spirulina today and feel the difference. Save 25% off your Spirulina order today using the coupon code JUSTIN, JUSTIN, at extremehealthradio.com/Nutrex. That's NUTREX.
I'm a slacker.
Wow. That's quite a way to start the show.
I know.
Why are you slacker?
Well, because this week was supposed to be the week I was starting my banjo lessons, which reminded me of this intro, and then I thought about the guy singing, God knows what he's singing on the banjo.
Oh, yeah.
And then I thought, I had to push it till this next week. Wait for a little cash.
A little cash to roll through.
A little cash to roll in so I can afford lessons. But I'm excited.
Who are you going to take banjo lessons with? Do you know?
There's a guy, there's a whole studio a couple miles away up the coast, and I think his name's Dan.
Really?
Yeah.
Dan, the banjo player.
Dan, the banjo man.
That's awesome. What about drums? Are you going to get a whole band going, or just?
Well, actually, you know what's crazy is they have this is actually really cool. They have this thing where they teach everybody these musical instruments, and then you, at any age, you have the option to come together and do these little performance nights.
Really?
Where you can join in these little bands.
You're kidding me.
No. At this awesome coffee house, and they do performances.
Oh,
so I'm going to be picking the banjo. I hope you are going to be there playing the washboard or the triangle or something.
I have no musical abilities at all.
Triangle's not that hard.
I can play a little guitar, but...
Yeah, you can actually.
Triangle.
Well, how hard can a triangle be? Come on.
Oh, my gosh. I can film it and put it on the Empowered Women's channel.
That would actually be awesome. Maybe when Bo comes into town, we can get her to play the drums.
That is funny.
Beat on some Tupperware.
Yeah, like...
Pots and pans.
Yeah, like in Santa Monica.
What's Santa Monica?
You know how the guys sit out there and they play on the tops of the
like paint buckets?
Yeah.
Those guys are talented.
Wow, so you can join a little band. Do you have a name yet, or what's going on?
I haven't even started lessons. Don't skip ahead too fast, Stallman.
Okay.
But I'm excited. Anyway.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow, that'd be really fun.
I'll let everybody know how my banjo progress is going and how my first lesson goes next week.
I think it's really cool that you seem to be someone who, you always like to learn something. I think that's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, the last 5 summers I've had a theme.
Oh, where I do.
Right. Do you remember
themes.
that? I make themes, and I love it.
Yeah, tell me what some of your themes are.
Mandy in the chat room said Justin could play the blow jug. Good one.
Oh, gosh. That's assuming I have a musical ability.
Those kind of skills, right. Didgeridoo.
There you go.
I have themes. I decided that was a fun thing to start like five summers ago.
Uh-huh.
So let's see. I had the summer of... What did I do?
One summer you took sailing lessons. I know
That's right. Yeah.
Remember that?
I had the summer of surfing, where I actually woke up early every morning, drove by myself, and went out a lot that summer. And got okay, I could stand up. I got barreled. Just kidding. I didn't. I didn't even get close. I was able to not fall off the wave.
Yeah.
I had my summer of sailing lessons I took with my sister.
Yeah, that was
cool. Really cool.
Yeah.
Asked me what a jig or a boom something is these days, and I can't even tell you. The boom, maybe just the boom.
Sounds good. To me.
That we went out into the open seas, and that was quite an experience. And I don't know if I want to repeat it.
Yeah.
Then I had my summer of scooting.
Oh, that's right.
I bought my scooter, my Vespa's type scooter, and I joined a scooting club, and we would go miles up the coast together. There was like 50 of us.
You went all around, didn't you?
Oh my gosh, it was so fun. Until I got nailed in the neck by a bug that caused an infection, and then that started a whole other story. So, that was a fun summer until the Japanese beetle hit my neck going 40 miles an hour and drug its claw-like thing, pincher into my neck, and that was bad news.
That's no good.
No. And then, I had this summer, What was last summer? Why am I blanking on this?
Last summer?
Oh, gardening. Last year was my summer of gardening.
That's right.
All summer I spent out there watering trees and trying to do new vegetables. And
that's cool.
Yeah, lots of different crafts. This year is the summer of the banjo.
Summer of the banjo. Any idea what next summer is going to be?
Eating bonbons on the couch. Taking a break from my themes.
That's funny.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. I like that you do that. I like that you just kind of are constantly learning new stuff. I think that's really cool.
It's fun.
Yeah, because there's so much to learn, like languages, or you could learn subject matters.
That's right. I had my summer of Italian. I took Italian.
Oh, that's right.
See, it's been going on longer than 5 years. I'm like 7 years. And then I had my summer of taking a course in interior design.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and my summer of salsa. I took salsa dancing lessons. Never mind. I've been doing this for a very long time.
Yeah, never mind. I've been doing this my whole life. Just don't mind me.
Maybe it's just who I am.
That's cool, though.
It's fun.
There's so many things to learn in life, and so many different, things, ways to be inspired, different cultural things, so many different things to be exposed to.
I have to say, I talk about this woman all the time like I know her, but who's the most inspirational on the level to me is Louise Hay.
Oh, yeah.
You hear her talks and read her books, and it's like that woman has not only overcome so much tragedy and just personal pain and things that should knock anybody just down and beat down, and a lot of people stay beat down. That woman not only rose above it, but she's 80 something, and she's out there taking ballroom dance lessons, and she learns new stuff all the time. She's like the sponge for life. And I thought, if I can get an ounce of that in my life in my 30s, and she's in her 80s, and I could have the next 50, 60. Well, if I live to be 150 like I want to,
that's
I have a lot of time left, 130 something years to
120
have
more years.
Themed summers.
That's awesome.
But I do think people like that are just so interesting, and it doesn't take a lot of money. That's the thing.
No.
You know?
You could go learn at your local college or whatever, take classes online, or
read books, read ebooks, learn something, or just be fascinated in a subject and immerse yourself in it until you realize you like it or you don't. But
remember, she was saying that she recently took up some sort of like painting or art class or something, and the guy she was talking to, was kind of joking with her, and she said she was the youngest, or the oldest, and then the second oldest was someone who was like 12.
Or like 11
or 12 years old.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Isn't that cool? But you're never too old to learn something new.
So she was in a class full of kids, basically learning this, whatever it was.
She probably had colored pencils and was just going for it. I value people like that. It's exciting. I'm the same way. I don't necessarily do it with. I do it a lot with ideas. I love learning new ideas and learning you do.
New concepts and new ways of looking at the world and stuff like that. I don't necessarily do it with things like learning a new language or learning a skill. I should. I always want to, but I'm just so busy. But I love doing it with ideas, and whatever it is that kind of blows your hair back. If you do it, if you're interested in some new thing, I just do it. Yeah. It's so much fun. It is really fun, isn't it? Oh, man. I'm a completely different person than I was even a year ago. Yeah. Or 2 years or 5 years. I'm not even the same person. Well, you know what it does, especially these things that you branch out out of your comfort zone to try? It makes you can never look at that thing the same again. Mm-hmm. Like owning a dog. Anytime now I see a dog owner, I'm like, oh, I know all the work that goes behind that. And it's a lot of fun, but it changes your life. Or when they go on vacation, wow, they must have to plan around this dog. Mm-hmm. When I see a boat sailing on the ocean now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember how crazy that was to try to have to make this all look seamless. And I'll never look at a boat the same. And that's what I think is so cool, Super cool. Yeah. It's really, really, I don't know. I just think the more we can sponge up and just appreciate the thing. I think it gives me a major appreciation for the things that people do, or how hard it is to play the guitar. I mean, I tried to take lessons on and off there for like 10 years, and I'm not very good at the guitar. So let's hope I'm a little bit better at the banjo. That wasn't you at the beginning of the show, playing guitar? Well, it was, but I wish that was me. Yeah, no, it does. It gives you a new appreciation for things. And I stand in awe of people. Yeah, it allows you to look at things from a different perspective, maybe from the perspective of the person who's doing it, and gain a new insight and see, the whole trick of everything is learning how to see things from other people's perspectives, like if you're having an argument with someone or communicating with someone, being able to step into their shoes and to think about things the way they would think about them. I mean, isn't that the name of the game? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not just being sympathetic, it's being empathetic, whether it's in pain or whether it's in joy, but to really be able to dive into that place with them and understand where they're coming from. But also like
hold your space. Because if it's a heavy thing that you're diving into, I think with people, like a lot of my clients just go to this really dark place, and I feel I'm an empath. And the more studying and learning I do about what qualities of an empath are, I'm like the textbook empath.
Yeah.
And I used to think I was in the wrong job for being so, because I just felt so like energy vampired by the end of my day.
You felt like you were in the wrong job?
Well, I did. I felt like I'm good with people, but I was in a job, I was really immersed in a job for a good 14 years. This last year I backed off a little bit, but where they just suck me dry.
Right.
And because I went so much so into that empathetic space where I felt like I lived it with them. So every client, 10-hour days, you'd have like 15 people come through your door and sit in your chair, and you felt like you lost your grandma, and then your dog got run over by a car, and then, you found out your kid had autism. It's like all these emotions, I really felt like they just stuck onto me and got in my brain grooves and in your
neurons and stuff.
And I think that's what happened. It took what's a beautiful gift of being an empath and really kind of tweaked it and ended up almost like making it how it can be a blessing or a curse. I felt like it started to become a curse because I couldn't digest their life or my life anymore. It's like there was a blurred line between what was my life and their life, because I'd be crying with people. By the end of haircuts, we'd be hugging each other. I'm just like, like I felt so deeply, which is a gift, but not in that sense. And so I felt like maybe that's, I've read 1,000 times that digestive problems are the inability to digest your life. And I feel like that's what played a big part in my
could be a big reason.
Digestive issues, challenges.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, I've never, with your job, it's so amazing because you get these people, and it's so crazy because one person, loses their grandpa or loses their dad or loses their child, and then you spend, an hour with them crying, and it's just this emotional wreck. You go down this whole emotional pathway with them, and then the next person comes in and they just got a job promotion or they just closed on their house, and it's like, wow, what a
roller
crazy roller coaster that is. That's not natural. I mean,
no.
If we were living in the forest like Daniel Vitalis wants us all to do, I love Daniel. Naked in the forest,
drinking spring water and throwing leaves on our groins.
If we were living like that, you would never have these emotional roller coasters up and down with being exposed to so many people. I mean, the average person, if they're working a regular job, I mean, they're being exposed to maybe 10 people every day, same people. Mm-hmm. And that's probably not natural too, either. But man, to have the input of 200-300 clients,
a
month, and, these ups and downs, roller coasters, and them basically throwing up their lives all over you.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's just a weird thing.
And to not be resentful of the way that I was made to care, because I started becoming a little more resentful of that. And
why couldn't you have a thicker skin or something like that?
Yeah, or
So
yeah, maybe that. Or I think I've come to the realization just in the last year, though, that it wasn't. How do I put this? It's not a curse being an empath, and it's not that I hate people because I started thinking I hated people and working with the public. It couldn't be any more opposite. I love people, and my heart will always be with people first and foremost. I do believe that's a gift. Like, I love connecting.
Yeah, you're really good at that.
Well, I feel like it's part of who I am at my real core,
Yeah.
But it's just I feel like it's being channeled. It's the way I channel it in a different direction. I feel like my love for people is coming back. It's just on a different level, and I'm having to set boundaries, like really good ones, and be caring, but from a distance. And the way that and to be honest, like, I had a really interesting experience 2 days ago. I was driving up to watch my sister's little girls up about an hour away toward LA.
Okay.
And I got off the freeway, and I'm on the main drag going down.
Oh, you told me this.
Yeah, in Long Beach, and it was like rush hour, and there's all these cars and things, and I'm going, north, and I looked over, and I see this car on the left, like going the opposite way, coming toward me in those two lanes, over on the far lane, and there was a car that had stopped and had its hazards on, and in front on the street there was this item, and I thought it was like a rolled up rug or like something that was on the street that I don't know. I didn't know what it was.
A bag or something?
Yeah, it looked like a big carpet or a rug or something. And then as I got closer, I was like, oh no, it looked like it was a furry body, like a big dog, like a big furry sheepdog or something.
Yeah.
And I had to make that split-second choice. I literally took my left hand and put it over like a blinder, like on a horse.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I couldn't go there. I was like, okay, this is going to ruin me, whether it's a rug or whether it looked like a dog or I just thought it was a dog. I am that I knew that couldn't stay in my brain. It wasn't like I wasn't mature enough to handle it, but something about being I didn't want that in my space. I actually put my blinder on, kept driving through. My heart was racing, and I just said out loud a prayer for that family that just either lost their dog or that poor man that just hit the dog, if it were in fact a dog, because it was so traumatic. So I thought, it's not being irresponsible or not loving or not willing to go into someone else's pain with them. At that time, it was too much for me.
Right.
And being a dog owner now, that kind of stuff affects me so much more. So I shielded myself, and I told myself on the way back, like, I don't know that was a dog. It sure looked like it was going to be a dog the closer I got.
Yeah.
But, and that man was walking around the side of the car and was coming to the front. I didn't want to see his reaction. I didn't want to see anything.
Yeah, that's good.
So I've just learned to protect myself, and there's certain things you can handle at different times in life better than others. Yeah. And I gave myself a hall pass. I didn't beat myself up for not being able to go into that space of this devastating feeling, because it would have ruined me at that point.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things that's interesting, because you're being kind to yourself, like you said. You gave yourself a hall pass, and a lot of times we're so hard on ourselves, aren't we?
We are so hard
for not being able to
ourselves.
handle certain things, not being able to handle certain things the way other people think we should handle them. If we know if something is going to be damaging to us, like watching a movie or being exposed to something like that, why put that into your psyche? And you've been doing this lately too with not allowing certain things in. Like, you've really been treating your inner self lately with a lot of respect.
Thank you.
A lot of times we see people that, or we've been exposed to people that all of our life, they just let anything in, right? They just watch any movie. They just watch any news story. They'll let anything in. They'll, be talking to someone. They know that a conversation with that person is going to be destructive, and they just, they do nothing to protect their inner self, their inner space. And you've been doing that a lot lately.
You think so?
Yeah. Well, you started doing it on Facebook. You started, limiting the amount of people whose food you see, whose stuff you see, which is kind of, just a first step, right?
Last week I went and unfollowed, almost all of the people that I've been friends with on Facebook, because I can't handle their posts anymore. I don't have time, and I don't have the space, and they, it's not like I unfriended them. They think I'm probably seeing their life, and they probably don't even know, because they have 1,000 friends or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, to me, I needed to charge and take back my space for self-preservation purposes. Too much coming at me, especially just in this time in life where it's so exciting but crazy. It's like this Empower Women stuff going on. It's all really good stuff. I don't have time to know that you ate broccoli for breakfast every day. I just,
I know, right?
I can't. As much as I love that person, I have to love them from a distance. And I can't go there right now. I don't have the extra to give. What I do give is wholehearted, so I can't be fragmented with these things,
Yeah, I agree. Because, what benefit is there in knowing mundane things about other people? I mean, like you were saying the other day, when, certain people on Facebook, you would not know that something's wrong with them, right? Like, if someone's dad died, like recently, one of my friends on Facebook, their father or their mother got in a car crash.
Oh, right. You said that. That's right. Yeah.
This was only a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, is there any value in me knowing that? Because I haven't spoken to this girl since high school.
Right.
And
yes, your heart goes out to her, but what is that doing to you on an energetic level of knowing that you wouldn't have known that had you not been, quote, friends with her on Facebook?
Yeah.
It doesn't add to your life. I mean,
no, it's
and you're not really grieving with her because you're not close with her.
I don't even talk to her. It's like I see her stuff, but it's like, it's funny. Why do we want to feel so connected? I wonder, maybe
it's because we've been so disconnected for so long. In the crazy world we live, so we're like, people are grappling and just scrambling to try to get connection again.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's a lot of cool things about Facebook. You can, know what's going on in the lives of people you went to school with and reconnect and bring back old friendships. And I mean, there's a lot of value in that. But what I'm saying is that, I think that before we just let anything in, we should think about what, who this person is. Are they dramatic? Are they just trying to cause controversy? Because even if someone says something like that where, let's say that person died of some kind of cancer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could start skewing my opinion of people. I could start thinking, well, that person didn't take care of themselves, and that's what happens when you don't, take care of themselves. Or you could start thinking, well, okay, gosh, it seems like a lot of younger people these days are getting cancer. What's going on with that? Right. And it starts making you think thoughts that you never would have thought otherwise. And that's the whole thing, is protecting that inner space.
Yes.
That's who you are. It's almost like those things you see at a museum, where you go and there's a glass cover to those things, and it's in like a glass box, and you can't touch it.
Yeah.
Like, why don't we treat the inside, our inner world, like that, where people can come and look and converse with you, but they can't stick their hand in you and get and be a part of your inner world. You know what I mean?
And pull out your guts, one stringy gut at a time. Stick their hand right into your bowels. Just kidding.
Braveheart style.
No, that's a beautiful way to put that, though. That paints mine didn't paint a good picture. Yours painted a much nicer picture.
But I feel like,
we don't set up boundaries. We don't protect our
ourselves.
Space is everything.
Yeah.
The space around us is everything. And if we're just like getting slammed left and right with all these different energetic,
emotional
balls being thrown at you, and you're just getting hammered by stuff.
That's one of the reasons why recently you want to get rid of your cell phone.
Oh gosh,
you're over it.
I've had quite the week. I've unfriended people. Just kidding. I unfollow people on Facebook. I'm done with the cell phone. And the weirdest part about this, the cell phone's done with me.
Yeah, it's.
This is my third phone in the last 3 months that's shut down on me.
Yep.
And it's making it very clear that it does not want me to be communicating with it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah, you're done.
Yep.
You're done.
I'm done.
Yeah, because you use your cell phone mostly for work and things like that, right? For people booking appointments and all that.
Right. So I've come up with another plan to be a lot more cell phone free. I'm going to be getting what's that company you told me about? Ting?
Ting, yeah.
It sounds like a great idea. I'm still looking into it. It's like a phone that you can just kind of use and pay as you go, but you don't lose your minutes. And they don't roll. Doesn't Joe Rogan talk about Ting?
He does, yeah.
Is that how we found out about it?
Ting, yeah. It's a service that lets you pay for only what you use, I guess. I don't have a cell phone, so I don't know how these things work, but I think that even with some of the services that are similar to this, after 3 months, if you don't use your minutes, they drop off or something.
Right, and I've had one of those top-up phones before.
Yeah.
This sounds different, and I think I'm going to do that just to have being a woman, safety out there in the world, driving and things. But yeah, as far as my regular plan, I'm just done. I'm gonna change my number I have on my cell phone now. Used to be a landline, and I made it because it was an AT&T number. It could also become a cell phone. And so I'm going to put it back to a landline, keep it at a distance, check them like every few days just to make sure what little time I still work at the salon, I got to still be a little bit accessible.
Available, yeah.
So I'm going to do that and then get one of those top-up phones. And then I think I'm going to probably get one of those iPod Touches. Is that what you call them?
Yeah, yeah.
So you still have internet access. You can, do your Instagram and keep up with the emails on the road and things like that. But because I do need some sort of, I would love to just be you and never have had one, so you can do life without one. But the minute you go down, it's really hard to kind of backtrack and make your life work in that way and on that caliber.
It is, yeah.
So I think I'm just gonna do as much as I can do.
Yeah,
to try to lessen that. So.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. The phone thing. It's such a strange thing because it's talk about instant communication. A lot of people think, I'm a Luddite and I don't like technology and stuff. But, here we are broadcasting worldwide on the internet.
Right.
It's not that I dislike technology, but I want to be able to control how I live my life, and I want to be able to control what I allow in. And if people aren't able to get a hold of me when I'm away from the computer, I am basically at the computer all day, aside from going to the gym or walking Maggie or something like that, going to the beach with you. If I'm home, I'm working.
Right.
And so it's not as if any amount of long periods of time goes by where people can't get a hold of me.
Right.
If they need to call, they can leave a message at the phone. It's not like, 2 hours will go by, but if I have a cell phone, people can call me at any moment.
Right.
And then if I don't get back to them, then I'm starting to put the stress on myself. Like, oh gosh, I've got 20 messages I haven't got back to, something like that. That's not good.
It's not good. And you know what I think has happened too? I love that you held your space. When I met you, you didn't have a cell phone. I'm thinking, what the heck? This isn't going to work. Like, how am I supposed to get a hold of him? You know?
How?
And you're like, I
it?
have a landline.
Yeah, I'm actually
at home.
12 doors down from you because I lived.
You did. We lived like 4 buildings away.
I could walk there in less time than it would take me to call you.
Talk about crazy though that we still expect everyone to be connected every second, you know?
Yeah, I know. You didn't.
I remember I thought that was weird. Part of me thought that was refreshing. But, when I met you, you were the guy that just got back from a year surfing around the world and your freedom. And you were a hard one to rope in there, mister. Which I loved about you, but it was a little crazy. But I started to love that. And I thought, wow, I know because this is the thing. I feel like men and women, particularly in relationships, in my experience with my friends, put a lot of pressure on each other to have to be able to be gotten a hold of at all times. Right. So I remember your brother's wife, actually. She said to me one time when they were down here, she goes, oh, just wait till you have kids. That's not going to fly. Like, I remember she said to me, like, yeah, just wait until you have a kid. That whole thing, like, don't put up with that. Make him get a cell phone. Like, you're going to need it. You're going to have to. Yeah, and I thought, no, I love how Justin has protected his space. Like, I'm going to know where he is. Like, you're so good. This is the thing, though, I think. It comes down to trusting the person, and it comes down to the lifestyle. Because you're right. I know that if you're not at home, you've told me, I'm going to the gym for 5 hours or 2 hours or whatever. I'm not worried. And if I don't hear from you, then I'll go find you, and it'll all be okay.
Yeah. Or you can call me at the gym.
Well, like yesterday, my dad was online. We were ordering some stuff together over at my parents' house. And I thought, oh, Justin wanted something. I wonder what this is. My dad laughed. I'm sitting there. And he goes, oh, is Justin at home? I go, no, he's at the gym. And he goes, you're calling the gym? And I go, small town, Dad, small town.
Small town. Well, how else would you get a hold of me?
Right. How? A carrier pigeon?
You can't ping me. You can't SMS me. Send me a text messages or whatever.
Isn't that funny, though?
Yeah.
But I thought, you know what?
That's how it used to be.
Even if I would be disturbed if I were to call you or text you and you answered me at the gym. Why are you lifting barbells looking at your cell phone? You're going to hurt yourself.
Right.
Or you don't have any time where you can get away and actually just focus on working out. That's messed up.
Yeah, right?
So, all that to say, like, I'm really glad you've held your space and that you've been able to do that. Not many people can. I sure can't, and I'm trying to get back to that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who knows how long I'll be able to keep this whole shenanigan going on for, you know?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think it's a shenanigan.
I mean, how long am I going to be able to live without a cell phone, I wonder?
I hope forever.
It's getting to the point where, you sign into Yahoo Mail and they're asking for your cell phone. Remember that?
Oh.
To verify your existence or your account.
I keep Xing out, and it keeps like popping up. Yeah, how long are they going to try, you know?
Yeah, I just think for me, it's a big, the cell phone thing for me was a big deal because, for my life, it's really weird. We've talked about this before, but I feel like I'm a late bloomer in a sense. I'm late to the game on a lot of stuff, like Lost, like the TV show Lost. we're still halfway through that. We'll make it through.
We'll make it through.
It only ended.
I still want to know how it ends. No one tell me in the chat room. I don't want to know.
6 years ago. But, we're kind of late to everything, or at least I am. And so, with the cell phone thing, I would look around at my friends and their relationships, and I would look around at how they use cell phones, and everybody loved them. But I would look around, and friends, their spouse would be all upset with them if let's say I was with a friend and we went somewhere hiking or something, and then he didn't take his phone, and then
I remember a specific time when this happened,
and there would be 14 missed calls when he got back, and it's just...
and it wasn't an emergency. That's what's scary. Yeah, if your kid's arm just fell off, I get that. Like 14 calls would be justified, but it was more like, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you?
Yeah.
That would stress anybody out.
It's weird because it creates this odd dependence on people where they are...
Like an instantaneous... they need an instantaneous response from you?
Well, but... The response that they feel like they need isn't even necessarily justified because it's almost like, should I buy the red carton of milk or the carton of milk with the blue on it? You know what I mean?
Right.
Or should I do this or that? Where it's like it creates a situation where people become dependent on other people without having the ability to make their minds up. It's weird. And so
I'm guilty of that. I'll be at the health food store and call you and be like, do you want coconut Bliss bars, chocolate, or do you want coconut? And it's like, really? I can't make that call, or he's not going to be okay with whatever I bring home? Like, that does bother me a little bit that I do that. Yeah,
and it's one of those things where if we were living in 1950, you would just make that decision. And either I would get angry, right? That's one response. I get angry. I wanted the chocolate and you got the coconut. Right? Or I would have to be okay with whatever you got. But in the end, you still made a decision for you. You still ponied up and made that decision, which is where the power comes from. And so we're like, you see it all the time with people, and they're, driving somewhere to a friend's house, and maybe the friend just moved. And so on the way to the friend's house in the car, they're calling, asking for directions. That person should have planned ahead.
Right.
Written directions down. The fact that they can call during the time when they're supposed to be driving and paying attention so they don't hit anybody and kill someone causes all kinds of other problems. A dependency, an ability to feel like I should be and can be able to connect with someone at an instant, and get angry with them if they're not there. Maybe they went to the bathroom.
Imagine.
Maybe they're doing a coffee enema. Who knows? You know what I mean? No,
you're totally right.
And
you're so right.
It creates all this weird stuff that's only been around for the last 15 years with our culture.
I think that's what's the most disturbing. It's changed so fast.
Yeah.
So fast and so profoundly that I don't know.
It's changing our lives. And I'm not against cell phones. I love the technology. I love what they can do. They're amazing things. And I think that for me, I want to be able to control how that technology affects my life. So I'm already, sitting and working behind a computer all day. I have a standing desk, so I can stand and sit and stand and sit. But there becomes an issue of lack of control if you're not able to control how you want to live your life.
Right.
And so if you don't have a cell phone, people just have to figure out other ways to get a hold of you, and they have to actually plan ahead for things. And if you move, they're going to have to actually go on Google and get directions.
No, it's true.
Not call you on the way. And then if you're unavailable, if you're helping someone bring in some groceries at home when they call and you don't have your cell phone on them, they can't get mad at you.
Right.
It's a weird thing. And so I'm really happy that you're going to be joining my world here. It's such a fun world.
I say if my tin can and my string can't reach to the other person with their tin can, then they're going to have to wait.
That's right. That's done. That's it.
I'm excited about your world. Speaking of the cell phone thing, that same night that I was driving home with the dog incident from watching my nieces.
Oh, yeah.
I got back on the freeway, and the person in front of me's whole back of their car was just completely obliterated, just smashed to high heaven, and I can't believe the person was still driving it.
Wow.
And there was a giant poster board sign on it taped to the window, and it said he just had to pick up his cell phone.
Wait, what is that? What? It was
the car in front of me.
But it was a bumper sticker?
No, it was a giant car. They made this giant poster board, taped it to their barely holding on to the back of their car, their what do you call that, the back?
The windshield?
The windshield. And it said he just had to pick up his cell phone. So the person that hit them literally probably picked up their phone, and that's what destructed her car. She was making a statement, and I read that and thought, that's heavy.
That's a great advertisement.
It was great. I thought this woman, I turned, and I went by her, and she looked like some, 40s kind of regular mom probably. And I thought, wow, she's not she's not just complaining about this or, talking to her friends. She's making a bold statement by driving around. Just another reminder we all need. And you know what, that night, I'm guilty of it too. I didn't check my phone. I put it in my purse. Didn't even want to see if it was ringing up with you or brightening up because a text was there.
Why didn't you pick up that day? What? I can't get a hold of Kate for 5 seconds. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
It was a good reminder.
That's amazing.
It was a really good reminder.
You know what's awesome is the other day I saw somebody driving and they weren't looking at their cell phone.
No.
This was awesome.
These people exist?
I couldn't believe it. Because I have to tell you, how many people, I probably see between 5 and 10 people a day driving, looking at their cell phones.
Oh, yeah. If not more. Most everyone. I mean, you're right. It's rare to see someone not. Wow, that person's actually looking forward. At a stop sign, 90% of the time people are looking at their lap. I mean, this is crazy.
So I heard a quote the other day. It was really interesting. I'm going to butcher it, but it goes something like this. It was on the Hay House Summit. That's what it was. If you guys have not heard the Hay House Summit this year, I think you can still get it. I think it's no longer free, right? You have to buy it.
I believe, yes.
But oh my gosh, is it worth it? extremehealthradio.com/hayhouse, HAYHOUSE. In one of the interviews, they were talking to someone, and the guy said something like, if an alien being were floating above the earth and looking down on humanity, like in New York City or something like that, he would think that God exists in the palm of everybody's hands.
Oh my gosh.
Because
that's awesome.
Because everyone's walking around looking at this blue thing, this screen, and the alien would think that that was God. Like they must be praying to God or worshiping God or something.
Oh my
gosh.
Funny, though? You don't remember who that was that said that?
I don't remember, because this guest was quoting some other person who actually came up with that quote. But
wow,
I thought it was really interesting because it's true. People just worship this phone and the constant checking of things, and it's hard to get away from. But I feel like
that's heavy.
Where you can get away from it, I think you should, and I think it would behoove you to try. And at least if you can't extract yourself completely from it, extract yourself a little bit.
Right.
Create a little bit of space.
Just step back a little.
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat room wrote, Justin, you don't have control on how these cell phones affect your life. You need to look into how EMFs affect the human condition. Human cortisol levels are at high levels because of the exposure to non-native EMFs.
Well, that's true. I mean, that's a whole separate reason why I don't have the cell phone is
right?
Because not just of how it affects our psyche and the way we live life and how we interact with others, but because of the EMF thing too. We did a whole show with Magda Havas. That was an amazing show, and also with Dr. Emil de Toffel.
Oh gosh!
And we now sell his EMF protecting products on our website at extremehealthradio.com/lessemf. His company is called Less EMF, and I completely agree. I mean, the EMF is a whole separate thing.
It was sketchy. It was it last week we had Dr. Massey on?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this one kind of rocked me because I've heard a lot about obviously the EMF condition and what's happening, and I do have some things on my phone to help kind of mitigate that. But yeah, Dr. Massey was talking about coming back from that really awesome bluegrass festival he went to in Kerrville. And he was driving down the road and felt his phone vibrating in his pocket, only to realize he didn't have his phone in his pocket.
Oh yeah.
And he was talking about how was he saying that could happen? It was like this, having his phone in his pocket all weekend or whatever.
Yeah, there's a term for it, right?
Yeah, what was the term? I'm going to blow it.
I don't remember.
But it basically transferred the energy in like a memory level to
his thigh.
Yes.
Like
so his thigh was like burning and vibrating when his phone wasn't even on it. So he said, this is what Tana says. Dr. Massey said something like the phone burned the nerve on his hip, a phantom something, she said. He said he doesn't even in the car, because you're in this little aluminum, metal container where you're, conducting more activity, to keep that phone as far away from your body as possible, and for sure not on your body, because it's able to leave that imprint a lot easier if you're being a conductor.
Yeah, because the metal tin can of the car keeps more of those waves from just bouncing on the inside of the car. Similar, like if you're in a train or an airplane or something. But the reason why he said that was that if every 10 feet that you move, remember that?
Yeah.
Every 10 feet that you move, you cause the cell phone to recommunicate with the satellite to figure out, based on GPS, where you're located. So it's got to send and receive signals every 10 feet to be able to give you the accurate area of where you are. So when you're in a car for 3 hours, every 10 seconds.
It's finding you every 10 feet.
10 feet.
10 feet.
So that's probably more than once a second.
Yeah, your body's not getting a break at all.
Yeah, well, yeah, the cell phone is just emitting so many more electromagnetic fields. No wonder. That cell phone, man.
I know. Another reason, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
tell you what, when we get back from the break, because I think we haven't even introduced the show.
I know, we just started yammering on.
When we come back from the break, maybe we'll introduce the show.
Yes.
And then I want to talk a little bit about my client's reaction when I have, I've warned them that this is coming, about the ditching of the cell phone. Oh. And I want to get into a little bit about like how I feel about people have guilted me into staying in the cell phone world amongst a few other things for way too long. And I put my foot down.
Did you?
I'm going to. I am. I have been in the process of.
I love it.
So I'd love to share a little bit about that.
Let's do that.
If anybody wants to know.
I will say this is episode 268. So for those... Correct. So for those that are listening later on in the podcast, maybe years down the line, if you go to extremehealthradio.com/268, you'll be able to get all the show notes and everything we talk about on this show. Yeah.
Makes you kind of want to live in a bubble. That's what I'm writing in the chat room.
And this is June 20th, 2014. And it's 9:44.
Oh, perfect time for our break.
9:44. June 20th, 2014. Almost the longest day of the year here in the Northern Hemisphere, isn't it?
Oh my gosh. 2 days from now, right? It's your favorite day.
My favorite day.
Yes.
That's
we won't
right.
talk about what we used to do on our favorite day.
That's right.
That might be a little secret for another show.
That's right. All right. This is episode 268. We'll be right back. So a few years ago when I was working for this company, it was a really small company, and I had been wanting a Vitamix blender for years and years and years, but they're so expensive, and I just hadn't saved the money at that time to get one. And so as a Christmas bonus, they knew that I loved the Vitamix, so they got me a Vitamix, the 5000 blender. And that thing is so incredible. It was right at the beginning of my raw food journey, and I was using it about 3 times a day, really. Today, I still use it about twice a day to make blended smoothies and things like that. But the Vitamix blender is really, really great. And if you go to extremehealthradio.com/Vitamix, that will redirect you over to there, and then you'll be able to purchase that, and we'll get a commission for your order. And you'll also get free shipping, too, so that'll be great for you if you're interested in saving about $25 on the shipping. And with the Vitamix, you can make sauces and dips and bread. You could make ice cream with it. I've done a lot of ice cream. You can just make the most incredible things. And it's my favorite because it's got a tamper on it. And you can put ice and frozen berries and avocado and some honey and things like that, and with no water at all, and you have that tamper, and you can make the most amazing ice creams with it. So the Vitamix is my favorite blender of choice, and if you're in the market to buy one, I would greatly encourage you to do so if you have the money for it. And if you do it through us, through extremehealthradio.com/Vitamix, I'll get a little commission for it, and you'll get free shipping. So it works out for you and for us too. So if you're in the market, please do it through us. That'd be really cool. And you're going to love this thing when you get it. You're going to fall in love with it. You'll never go back to a regular blender again. So check that out, extremehealthradio.com/Vitamix, and I hope you enjoy it. Sometimes busy lifestyles and easy access to processed foods prevent us from getting all the nutrition we need to maintain our well-being. If you are in need of an energy and immune system boost, you have to try Hawaiian Spirulina. Hawaiian Spirulina is a caffeine-free way to boost your energy levels without the later energy crash. Pure Hawaiian Spirulina Pacifica is an easy way to support your health and is the most nutritious whole food supplement known to mankind. Cultivated on the pristine Kona coast in Hawaii, this superfood is packed with over 100 nutrients in each serving to support your natural energy levels and boost your immunity. Try Hawaiian Spirulina today and feel the difference. Save 25% off your Spirulina order today by using the coupon code JUSTIN at extremehealthradio.com/Nutrex, Nutrex. That's extremehealthradio.com/Nutrex.
100% listener supported. Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Don't forget to join our thriving community for health tips, inspiration, and show updates at extremehealthradio.com/Facebook.
You tried to beat me back onto the mic. I had you muted.
You muted me. You had me muted.
I had you muted.
I'm not going to say exactly what our tradition on the summer solstice is, but I'll just put this out there for family and friends that might be worried about not being able to find us on the summer solstice between 10 and 11 at night. let's just say it might involve being at the beach under the moon with or without clothes. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
That sounds great. That sounds like a lot of fun. I don't think the lifeguards will appreciate that, but
I think people are thinking sex on the beach.
I
better define that.
Yeah.
It might involve going in the ocean with or without clothes.
With or without clothes.
To celebrate the longest day of the year.
Yeah, Daniel Vitalis would appreciate that.
He would be, wouldn't he?
Going naked.
Hey, we're young. You gotta live once.
If you happen to be having a bonfire, having some s'mores on the beach, and a couple naked people run up out of the darkness, don't be alarmed. Just Justin and Kate.
Oh, brother! At least we have very isolated beaches where that probably wouldn't happen. But that is my biggest. That is my biggest fear is running into a lifeguard and getting in trouble.
I think of that scene on Zoolander where he's pimping all those products, and he doesn't know what he's doing. He's like, dance, monkey boy, dance. Like here we are coming out of the darkness naked.
And you know what's funny is we probably know all the lifeguards, so that'd be even more embarrassing.
Like, oh, it's you guys again. Oh, okay.
Janine says, "We'll just yell howdy, Justin and Kate."
That is hilarious.
Hey, we're not that wild of people, so you gotta throw it in there every now and then.
Yeah, you gotta release every now and then, right?
Well, you love summer, so that's the way we welcome summer.
Yeah.
But you didn't hear it from me.
That's true.
It might be a rumor.
It could be a rumor. Oh, where do we go from there, huh? Janine was saying...
I dug a hole with that one.
I was checking the chat room during the break, and Janine was saying, "Oh, it couldn't be good about the cell phones. I'm plugging the landline back in. Now I need to educate my kids. Ugh, they're going to hate me." No one likes that, do they?
No party line.
Yeah.
No. But at least, Janine, you can spy on them if you don't trust them.
That's true.
Pick up the other line, and you can actually hear what's going on.
Yeah, that's
instead
true.
of wonder on the cell phone.
That is so
I'm just
true.
kidding.
Yeah, so you wanted to talk a little bit about some things that you were experiencing at work. What was it again? It was pretty interesting. You and I were taking a walk the other day with Maggie, and we're down by the beach, and you said you were talking about this. Because some of your clients, I guess, wanted to make you get a cell phone or something weird. No,
okay. This is the deal. Like about a year ago, I forewarned people. Hey, I might be going back to a landline. This is my goal. Mm-hmm. So you might want to stop texting me because you're not going to be able to communicate. One day I'm not going to write back to you because I won't have the capability. And
there will be nobody on the other end of that text.
Right. It's going to go out into the ether, and you're going to think I hate you because I'm not getting. And that's the thing. People take it so personally.
Right.
If they were to text me and it didn't go through, they probably wouldn't know, and they'd be like, "Why isn't she writing back to me?" Mm-hmm. So I started warning people, and they were not happy about that.
What'd they say to you?
Oh, like, well, how do you, everything from, well, that's just the dark ages too. How do you expect people to get a hold of you? And the big one was, well, what are you going to do about Justin? Like, what if he can't get a hold of you? And I was like, he doesn't have a cell phone. And they're like, it was like all the air got sucked out of the room. Like, you say it ain't so.
Seriously, they would really react that poorly?
Yeah. Wow. Oh, really poorly. So they would not only react that poorly, they would, it kind of reminded me about other things when I've told my clients I was dropping down in hours, because originally I was working like 6 days a week, down to 5, and then the last couple of years I've been working 3 days a week, and now I'm down to 1, and hopefully that's going to be phasing out too.
Right. Thing of the past. But
I have clients that have made me feel guilty. I've let them make me feel guilty for decisions like, hey, I'm going to be ditching my cell phone. Oh, you can't do that. And I start feeling this sense of guilt, like I'm going to lose all my clientele. People are going to be upset I'm not like getting back to them. So it made me hang on just a little longer. And so now it's so funny. I have clients that come in and go, how's that 1 day a week working out for you?
And they say it as if it's like a jab? It's
a jab. And it's like, and then they follow up with comments like, oh, it must be nice, to have an early retirement, or things like, they think it's so funny and witty, or, it must be nice to sit around eating bonbons and reading novels all day. I mean, they say things to be funny, and they don't know how, like, jabby it really is.
So they're actually trying to just make a little joke or something.
Yeah, and you know what? It's funniest when the housewives do it. Like, no one makes fun of you for being a homemaker.
Right.
For raising your kids. There's nothing more noble than that, and being able to stay home. But I don't go, oh, it must be nice that you can just stay home and raise your kids all day. Like,
sit around and
you can go to the beach and play at the park.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that is really low. And I've really become resentful, and I've let them come into my space. So talk about holding your space.
Yep.
And I go, I've lived for 15 years feeling guilty for decisions I've made to change my life. So now that I'm actually seeing my body heal up, and I haven't been exposed to as many chemicals. I mean, the physical and emotional healing that's been done in me in the last 6 to 8 months has been so huge.
It's massive. You are not the same person.
I'm not even the same person.
Yeah.
So when people say that and those jabs get in there, it's totally, totally hard not to be totally offended by that.
And I think
the first thing I do is put my defense up and be like, hey, you don't even know how sick I've been or what I've been going through, but I have to really watch how I respond.
Well, you've been growing in that way too.
I've been growing a lot in that way. So it's actually makes for a really interesting conversation when I tell them like, yeah, like, you know, I bring it back down, go inward and say, wow, you wouldn't believe like how much I've been able to gain by actually being able to heal and having time to really heal Kate and let Kate heal. And, you know, and then they're like, oh, well, what was so wrong? And because they don't know what's even going on in my life because they don't ask.
They don't ask. Yeah.
So
yeah, it's wild because whenever you change, people don't like that because it causes them to feel uncomfortable because most people, I think, are living like the Ralph Waldo Emerson quote, living lives of quiet desperation. You know what I mean? And they want to do something better. They want to do something greater. And then when you're suffering along with them, it makes them feel good. But then when you start finding what it is that you're here to do and you're passionate about something, and then you start to change, that makes them feel uncomfortable because they realize they could do it too, but they don't have the wherewithal. They don't have whatever it is that causes people to change. They know that they don't have it, or at least they haven't been tapping into it, or they feel guilty because they haven't. Maybe they know they have what's they need inside to change themselves, but they don't do it, and then they beat themselves up for that. And so when they see you doing what they wish they could do, they don't like that, you know?
I have an article that I will hold on to till the end. I'm going to tear it out. I kept the whole magazine in the Law of Attraction magazine, which is so weird because I don't think it's actually published anymore. We saw like three issues and then it was gone. I know they have an online, online magazine.
Is it
or not magazine,
available?
an online. I don't think that I haven't seen the magazine and I can't find it at large booksellers and I can't order it online. So I don't know what's happening with it, but there was an article, I think about probably 2 issues ago, that in the very back of it, it was talking about like how people don't know what to do with you when you outgrow people. Like, and it wasn't being mean, but it's talking about when you start outgrowing people and living at these higher states of consciousness or more self-awareness, they really start resenting you and they either ditch you or start picking fights or trying to create something so that they can either feel better about themselves or make you almost break up with them or leave their life because it's uncomfortable.
Right.
And the whole thing of it was really realizing people want you to stay the person they are when they first meet you. It's just true.
People don't like it when you grow, do they?
They don't like it when you grow. Like you were saying, it makes them feel like a lesser person or that they can't keep up with your change or it scares them. I think that's the biggest thing is it's really scary to people.
Yeah.
I've had a really good friend in my life this last year who we've parted ways because of that. And I really think it's because there was so much that I had changed in and she didn't know who I was anymore. And she unfortunately didn't want to journey with me. And I had to be okay with letting that go.
Yeah.
It's wild though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's weird because not a lot of people are into bettering themselves. A lot of people are just trying to stay afloat. They're just trying to do just enough to keep the job, but not enough to grow or not get fired. You know, it's like they're just trying to keep just healthy enough so that they don't get a cold, but they don't have the kind of energy and vitality from taking care of their health to be really radically inspired about some project they want to do and go do it. They just want to do just enough, and so most people don't want to be a part of someone else who's saying, you know what, I'm making a left turn here, and I'm going this way, you know, and
I'm going toward the naked beach.
yeah, I'm going towards the naked. I'm hang out with the naked people, but yeah, most people just don't like that, and because it's uncertain and it requires a lot of you, it requires a lot of discipline, it requires a lot of self growth, and perhaps confronting of things in your life that you maybe don't want to deal with, and so people don't like that.
I think you made a good point when you said I'm taking this left, I'm going that way. I think that's exactly what it is. The people that are doing it are making a conscious choice. We're saying, I'm going here. I'm doing this. It's very, very targeted.
Very direct, yeah.
And people don't know what to do with that because they're not very targeted. So that's just like, they don't know what to do.
Yeah, because most people are, I think, like in a sailboat, just floating along and have no idea, where they're going, when they're going to get there, what they're going to do on the way there. But in order to get where you need to go, you need to learn how to move the sails like you did with your sailing class. You need to know which direction you want to go. And so when you make that clear distinction in your life, like the path that I'm on now, I can see where it goes. I look at the guy in the cubicle next to me, or I can look at my friends, or I can look at people who are older than me 20 years in advance. That's where I'm headed. If I'm on this road, I just keep going forward, that's where I'll be in 20 years.
Yeah.
And so finally you wake up and you think, you know what? Screw this. I'm going left. I don't know where this is going, but this is where I want to go. I'm tired of doing what other people want me to do. I'm tired of thinking what other people want me to think. I'm tired of, doing and just walking the line, making sure everybody else is happy. I'm going this way. And this way is I'm walking into a forest and I have no idea what's on the other side. But this is what I'm doing.
This reminds me, I can paint a perfect picture of this. This reminds me in Mexico when I went with, I used to work for a church and we had a group of high school kids. And we went down to this awesome surf village and we were building these really neat, I think it was an actual church. Anyway, we were spent all day slaving away building in the hot, hot sun. And then we'd have this free time and we were all on the beach. And this guy comes up to us, local, and he said, "Do you guys want to ride horses?" And we were like, "Yeah, let's ride horses." He goes, "Okay, how many of you?" And we said, "Okay, 15 of us or whatever." And he goes, "Okay, I'll be back." He was gone for like 3 hours and we just thought he just took off and that was the end of that. He had to go like round up these horses, these wild horses, brought them back on little strings. Like they didn't even have like proper saddles, no like nothing to really hold on to, but like a little string coming out of their mouth.
Oh my gosh.
So there was like one horse, he was short a horse. So this girl said, Kate and I can go together. So she jumps, she's the high school girl. I'm in the front. She's holding on around me. Everyone, horses start, they start following each other down toward the beach. Our horse just like started following and then just chops a left, right? And it's like, I'm trying to grab its mane and like kind of, hey guy, go to the right. Everybody else is like frolicking on the beach in the waves. And I'm thinking this would be amazing to ride these horses in Mexico on the beach.
Right.
So our horse goes left toward like the town. And then I'm like, no. So we go about 15 feet and makes another left. This thing made a left in this giant circle. It just kept making these lefts for like an hour. And we were laughing. So we called him Izquierdo, which means left in Spanish. And we were like, why did we get the one horse who does his own thing? But when you were saying that though, I'm like, everyone else is out there doing their own thing. And that horse is like, I'm going left. This is what I'm doing over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is what I'm doing.
That horse wanted to change its life that day.
He did. He just wanted a burrito.
Every day.
He's going into town.
He's frolicking in the water. He's tired of it. He wants to go that way. He wants to do what he wants to do.
It was an example that I really do think like that horse knew what he wanted, and in his brain he's like, I'm going to make as many left turns as I can to get there. And it was, as much as we tried, that was stubborn horse. Like, the
beautiful thing about horses and animals too is it's funny. All the other horses, if they were human, they would ridicule and pick on that horse for doing that. You know what I mean? But all the other horses, they're just, I'm going to continue living my whatever kind of life that they've set up for themselves. A life that's not as great as they would ever have liked, but it's just mundane. And, but if they were people, they would have just all ganged up and made fun of that horse and ridiculed it and everything.
And isn't that exactly what we're saying? And someone in this is so awesome, guest 675, whoever you are, thank you. They said they want to change, but it's internal fear of change that holds them back, and they resent those who can make that change.
Yeah,
that's exactly
true.
What's going on, I think.
Yeah, because people that do what you want to do, or people that put themselves out there or live the kind of life that you want to live, and are willing to go through whatever suffering that they may have to go through with family and friends, or whatever it is that they're, may catch as flack for their decisions. You wish you could do that. You look at them and you think, gosh, I wish I had enough confidence to do what they're doing.
Right, though.
But I just don't have it. And so when you say, I don't have it, then your body responds and your whole life responds as if you don't have it, because you're declaring that you don't have it. And then you beat yourself up because of that. It becomes this vicious cycle of getting out. And so at some point, it takes something to happen in your life, either some kind of awakening or something that a catastrophic illness or something where you're just saying, you know what, I'm going this way. I'm not going to live like everyone's living. And people don't like that. They're comfortable with the person that they created in their mind of who they thought you were 15, 20 years ago. So when you don't see them for 10 years, then they start talking to you about all the same stuff and, you know, all the same garbage that they used to talk with you about, and you're a different person. And so when they see that you're different, they're either going to change with you or not connect with you on that different level, or they're going to stop trying to get you to become like them, or they're not going to become your friends at all anymore.
Right.
But one of those four things has to happen. And so people don't like that.
I don't think it's possible to stay the same. I don't think it's possible when you change or someone else changes for it to stay the same. Something has to happen. I think you're right. Maybe it's one of those four situations. Yeah.
It's funny because this kind of ties into one of my articles I wrote this week.
Yeah, you've been writing like a fiend.
Yeah,
I've been a writing fiend.
Right. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of writing and trying to put up an article every single day. And there was an article I wrote about negativity, and it seems as if at least in my family, there's just some negativity. I'm not sure where it comes from, and so it's this thing that I've often struggled with, because it's really easy to live on the negative side of life and be a cynic and things like that. And I see it with so many different people. They'll say things like, I dealt with this company today and they messed up my order and now it's not going to be sent for another 3 weeks, or, and then after that, I spent 4 hours on the phone with them. And then after that, something else happened and this company couldn't get their stuff together.
It's all because no one could do their job right.
Yeah. No one could do their job right. And what's wrong with people? And, when you start thinking, going down negative thoughts like that, it's really easy to start thinking, oh, wow, that company, people don't do their jobs right. People back, 30 years ago, they could do their jobs right. But today, people can't do their jobs right. And you're really making these incredible assumptions for your life. You're saying that everybody can't do their job right, or just the people that you happen to deal with this day. Maybe those 2 people that screwed up their job, maybe that was the only mistake they ever made.
Right.
And maybe they've been doing that job for 10 years and they've only made one mistake in 10 years. You don't know. But to say that, I had 2 experiences with 2 companies and they screwed up this order.
No one knows how to do anything anymore.
No one knows how to do. Well, if that's what you think, then that's what that's your lesson. And so, if that's what you think of, if you generalize people and put them all into this box and, people these days can't do this, that, and or the other, that will be the case for you.
Absolutely.
And you'll continually have times where you get to either affirm that that's true, or you'll get to have times to overcome that and say that, no, people are beautiful. People are amazing. Maybe this person just had a screw up one day and, life is great. And so overcoming that, I think, is a big deal, because there's a lot to be negative about in today's world.
Isn't there, though?
You look out and, if you want to be negative, there's a lot you can find.
Right.
You
could find negativity in almost everything.
Yeah. I like what's his name? Brandon Adams says from Creditors in Commerce. He was saying that, whenever you look out in the world and you see, he did this experiment with people and he said, what's wrong with the world today? People would say, the banking system, or, the crime, or, the rage or the anger, all these different things. And he was saying, well, good luck, because you wouldn't be able to recognize those things in other people if it didn't first exist in you.
Oh, gosh.
So if you see the world as being a scary place, then you have fear in you. And that's the problem, because if you didn't have fear in you, you wouldn't see fear. If you weren't afraid of being, walking on the street at night, then you wouldn't see that that's a problem.
Right.
Because you wouldn't know. You'd be like a dog.
It's really weird you bring that up because I've been hearing that over and over and over just this week, and things I've been reading and things I've been listening to online. That seems to be a recurring thing. So, of course, you would bring that up.
Like the outside reality reflects what we have going on inside.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Exactly.
Huh? That's a weird concept.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that takes you to the whole, hey, we're all really one. We're all really connected. To be able to even see that in another means that you've experienced that to some level, or, you're capable of experiencing it.
Right.
Which means that it reminds me, did you ever see that movie Crash? I think we watched it a long time ago.
Crash.
It was really good. It was kind of heavy, but it was basically about how all these people's lives intersected in this way that I'm sure I'm sure most people have seen this movie or at least heard of it. But yeah, it was like where there was all these different storylines, and somehow along the way, all of their lives intersected at some point in the movie. And, it just showed the connectivity of people's lives. And, then when I watched it, I was like, that's a pretty interesting concept, but I didn't know if I really bought into it.
Right.
But, now I'm starting to think that there is something to this whole we are oneness. I used to think it sounded like a bunch of crap, to be honest. Like, this out there kind of new agey, weird, we're all one collective conscious.
Fairy stuff, yeah.
And I think there's a way to look at it that, isn't so mystical, but more like reality based. That I am starting to think that we all have everything in us. What is that quote about? Like, we all could be Hitler or Mother Teresa. Like,
oh yeah.
And along with, we could side with that man and empathetically, on the side of the road, that's a homeless guy asking for money. And we could all see ourselves in that jerk in the Ferrari who just cut a bunch of people off. Like,
yeah,
I think that I see myself in all those people. And that's what makes me think that, okay, that's this oneness people are talking about. And
right. Yeah.
Interesting.
It does seem like a real hokey kind of idea, like a real new age kind of thing. But, if you look at the world that way, it really does offer some insight into how you interact with your own thoughts about things and how you treat people. It really does.
I think so. I agree.
If nothing else, it helps you deal with people in a more compassionate, in a more understanding way, because you see, like, that I could be that person, and that person is really just an extension of me, or I see a lot of myself in that person, and so you really start to understand, where people are coming from. It kind of goes back to what we were just talking about at the beginning of seeing things from other people's perspectives, that way of understanding, and so, it's interesting.
Was that the article that you read, how I've been overcoming one of my biggest pet peeves? Was that the negativity? No,
actually, that one was, I just wrote the other day, and it was about, one of our biggest pet peeves and where we live here is the amount of noise that's here. And,
look at my response. Ugh.
Right? And it's really an amazing amount of noise that we live in. You would think that we live in downtown New York City.
You would.
But there's just a lot of noise. We live on a 4-way stop. And so there's service trucks, there's construction, there's trash trucks. Every day of the week, there's gardeners, there's construction going on, there's people outside, there's fireworks that people have let off all during the year.
There's mariachi music and fiestas every weekend at this giant park.
Yeah, there's a lack of peace.
Yes.
And so that's one of my biggest pet peeves. There's a lot of times people are driving by with Harley Davidsons, and in the article I gave the example of the people that drive by with their Harley Davidsons, and all these car alarms go off, and the places just shake. The windows shake. It's so loud.
And Maggie barks.
And dogs start barking. It's insane.
It's pretty wild.
And so what I talked about in that article is I've been getting up at like 5:45 these days and doing my meditation, and that's been helping so much.
Has it?
Yeah.
What do you sense has changed? Like, because I am proud of you for getting up, because we are not haven't typically in the past been morning people.
Yeah.
You were just like popping out of bed, the alarm goes off, and I'm the one who's like, 15 more minutes. But how have you felt like it's changed? Well,
it's really interesting because the meditation, at least doing it on an ongoing basis, seems like it's helping a lot, because at that time, obviously, it's really quiet and peaceful, which is nice. But when I'm doing the meditation, I'm starting to sit there, and it's before I turn on my computer, it's before I get started the day, check emails, all that stuff, get prepared for the shows, all this stuff. It's the first thing I do. And so I have all these thoughts in my mind. I have to do this. Oh my gosh, this person wrote, I got to get back to them. Or, I got to contact this company because they talked to me about this, or, oh, I got to contact and reschedule this guest, or, oh, this guest, blah, blah, blah. There's a million things that, I'm just,
the brain just doesn't end, huh?
Oh, it never stops. Right. And so what I've been doing is just doing meditation, nothing special, nothing fancy, just sitting there with a little bit of music on for 15 minutes, trying to focus on my breath. That's it. Nothing fancy. And what's been happening is that I'll notice these thoughts come in. They just come in so much. And I'll just let it go. Every thought that comes in, I'll just breathe deep and let it go. And I figure if it's that important, it'll come back to me after I'm done with my meditation. Because I can't fix anything now anyway. And so I've been using the tool or meditation as a tool to allow thoughts to come in and then go. And then I started thinking, like, what's his name talks in the book? What's that guy's name? Oh gosh, Eckhart Tolle.
Power Now.
Yeah, Power of Now. Yeah, and so I'm thinking, okay, who's doing the thinking? So, because I'm witnessing my thoughts come in and then go out.
Whoa!
And I'm realizing I'm having these experiences, and then just like him in his book, I was thinking, is there two of me or one of me? Yeah,
are you this dual person?
Am I my thoughts, or am I the person knowing that I'm having these thoughts?
Whoa.
Which is weird, right? You start thinking, it kind of reminded me of that book. And so I was realizing, okay, I'm not my thoughts. I'm the one who's doing the thinking, but I'm not my thoughts themselves. And then I realized, okay, I can create a little bit of a gap between my thoughts and being observant that I'm having thoughts. And that little buffer, that little tiny space that gets created there is who I am, I guess, at my core. Because I'm not my thoughts. I'm not my opinions. My opinions change. My thoughts change, right? These are all not me. And so if I have an opinion now, if I were to wipe that opinion away or that idea away, would I still be me? Of course. Same thing with goes, if you chop an arm off, am I any less of a soul or less human because I have no arms, no legs? Essentially, I have half a body, but am I any less of a person? I'm still fully me. So somehow there's a difference between the person who's thinking and the person and the thought itself. So then I started thinking, okay,
wow,
when that truck goes by or the Harley Davidson, my immediate thought is, oh, that jerk, why does he have to do that? He doesn't need to rev his engine like that and cause all the dogs to start barking and car alarms to go off. He doesn't have to do that. And I start getting negative or started thinking, oh, I just want to get out of here. But then I started thinking, okay, that thought, that's not me. My reaction to that is just that. It's a reaction. I'm reacting a story that I created for myself, God knows when, 100 or, months ago or years ago. I created the story that I don't like that. And so I'm just hitting the play button on that story every time. It's as if I'm like one of those puppets. What do you call those puppets?
Marionette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I'm a marionette.
Dance, little boy, dance.
Yeah. Zoolander, dance, monkey boy, dance.
Dance, monkey boy.
But and every string that's being pulled is some circumstance in life that I would just hit the play button on for a story that I used to play because I thought that I am those opinions. And so now I start realizing that I can make a different opinion. I can just make that left like we talked about. I could react differently. And so then I just started thinking, okay, I'm going to pray for that guy. That guy, maybe he's having a bad day. Maybe he needs
some attention.
Yeah, maybe he needs attention.
He needs to be heard.
Yeah, he does, right? He's got a Harley Davidson for crying out loud.
Right. He clearly needs to be heard.
Yeah.
Wow, when you look at it like on that level, though.
Yeah.
When people do things, half the things I'm annoyed with people doing things, it's only because they want to be seen or heard, because they're suffering. Exactly.
And so we look at what they're doing as a way that annoys or aggravates us, and we think that's the script, that's just like a hitting the play button on a recorder, and that's the play button that's being played. But then I realized that's not me. That's just some program I put into my subconscious mind years ago. I don't even know how, and I don't have to hit that play button anymore. And so then I think there's a lot of power in just not hitting the play button. But then what if I hit a play button on something else that's a conscious thought saying that I want to pray for that person and send him a prayer and pray for him.
So not only are you undoing, you're actually then therefore repairing or sending, like changing the vibrational.
Because it would be powerful enough just to not hit the play button on your own your own program.
Right. And stop that groove in your brain from going there and going there and going there.
But why not create a new groove?
New playlist.
A new playlist.
Wow.
And so that's kind of what I talked about in that story, because that is one of our biggest pet peeves. And I'm in no way pretending like I've mastered this skill, because I'm challenged with it. Like we were talking the other day, remember? Just because we don't say anything doesn't mean we're not still upset.
We don't think it.
So just because we don't complain out loud about that guy driving by in the Harley Davidson doesn't mean we're not still upset. So just because you just don't verbalize it, it means nothing. It's still inside you.
Right.
And so that's why that meditation is helping me to create that space where I realize that I'm not my thoughts, and that's just a pre-programmed response that I just hit the play button on, and realizing that I can actually step back a moment and realize that's not me, and I can become a different person. And if you start doing that with every little thing in your life, imagine what you could do. Imagine what you can accomplish. Imagine the different kind of person you could be in 6 months from now if you did that every day.
The mastery of the brain.
Right?
Wow.
So hopefully that all came out in my article. I don't know, but
I hope so, because the way you just told it, I felt like was pretty darn profound.
It's kind of on the lines of Joe Dispenza, huh?
Oh gosh, I'm loving Joe Dispenza.
Let's talk about him after the break. Let's take a little break, and then after the break, I want to talk with you about your little soul journey into the 15th dimension.
Oh, last night
you went to the center of the universe.
Felt like I did.
That was
maybe
weird.
I did. That was weird.
And that was an ayahuasca-free event, wasn't it?
It was. However, ayahuasca is very fascinating to me.
It was an ayahuasca-free zone you were in last night.
It was sure. It's
That
quite
was
an
a weird
experience.
thing.
I will definitely share it.
Yeah, we've been watching some Joe Dispenza. I don't know if you guys... He wrote a book, 2 books I really want to read. What is it one? Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself? Being
yourself. Yep. And then You Are the Placebo.
You Are the Placebo.
We should
Pretty awesome.
We'll put those books on the show page.
Yeah, totally. All right, we're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back. If you have any digestive problems whatsoever, I highly recommend getting a squatty potty that sits right underneath your toilet. Squatty potties help give relief from constipation and bloating, hemorrhoids and straining, IBS, pelvic floor, and bladder issues. See, as humans, we are designed to squat when we eliminate, and when we sit on a toilet, that angle kinks and pinches off the puborectalis muscle in your colon, and the squatty potty opens the colon to eliminate more quickly and completely. Listen to what Daniel Vitalis has to say about that.
One of the reasons I love to promote the idea of the squat toilet is because, for a couple of reasons. One, there's a ligament that wraps around your colon that prevents you, when you're in the seated position, from being able to have an effective bowel movement. But that ligament's loosed when we're in a full squat. So people are fighting their own body to defecate this way. Now, in the rest of the world, people defecate in the squat. Use a squat toilet. I'm so big on this. I've got a video on my website about that. But I really believe that it's important we start to actually defecate in an anatomically correct position. So, nobody sits on chairs to defecate except people in the West. And we have more rectal and bowel problems than anybody, more constipation than anybody. But this actually puts our body in a disadvantageous position for trying to go to the bathroom. So if you don't have a squat toilet or don't want to invest in one, I don't know, stack some books up. But get something where you can actually squat up above the toilet, or at least get your knees up higher.
Justin and I love our squatty potties. Start improving your digestion and elimination today by going to extremehealthradio.com/squat or see it in our store. Again, go to extremehealthradio.com/squat and watch the video to learn more.
So I've been following a guy named Lucas Rockwood for years and years, and he's a yoga instructor and a raw foodist, and we were finally able to get him on our show on episode number 10. So if you want to listen to his interview, it's really good. But he's a really good guy. We're honored and proud to be supporting him and his products at Yoga Body Naturals, and he's got this really cool product called the Yoga Trapeze, and you can check it out at extremehealthradio.com/trapeze, and that's TRAPEZE. It's really cool, like a yoga swing that you can install in your house or in your garage or anywhere. It's really, really cool. It helps to invert the body, and you could do back bends, and it's really, really an amazing thing for elongating your spine and relieving back pain. But the power of inversion is really, really critical. It's really sold and marketed as something that will help your back, but the power of inversion is really, really great. And people like David Wolfe and lots of other people talk about how powerful it is to invert the body for some portion of the day for as often as you can. And it's really cool. It comes with a bunch of videos that teach you how to install it. And it's got a bunch of practice videos too that comes as a bonus. He gives you a 2-month supply of this liquid energy B, which is like $25 normally. And he's got 108 Super Juices ebook that's normally $30, and also a yoga trapeze chart that's normally $20 that he throws in as for free. And you can get them in purple, two-tone purple, or two-tone orange. And the cool thing is that you can try it for just $1 for 30 days. And it's really, really a cool thing. If you go to extremehealthradio.com/trapeze, you can learn more about it and watch the videos of him using it and demonstrating why it's so good and all of that stuff. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, elongating the spine and using inversion to help heal your back and to have better posture and all of that, it's really something that you should look into. But before you look into it, listen to our interview with him in episode number 10 and just learn more about him and what his work is all about. And then go to extremehealthradio.com/trapeze if you're interested in getting this thing. And if you get it, let me know. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about it and how it's benefited you and all that. So thank you for listening. And you can also check it out in our store too. So don't forget to check it out there. Thanks for listening, and let's get back to the interview.
All free shows, all the time, on Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Join our community today. Sign up to our email list and instantly get our free gift to you, along with loads of inspirational content and cutting-edge tips to help change your life at extremehealthradio.com/subscribe.
Dang, those looks like some good chips. Huh?
Ha ha ha.
Ha ha ha.
Those are called dang.
Those are good chips.
These these toasted coconut chips. My goodness.
My goodness.
DANG. They're the best coconut chips I've ever found.
I know, they're so good. I could eat a whole bag and get all that sugar in one sitting.
Yeah, you could. I try to break it up. I get weird.
Yeah, I can't do that much sugar, but
No.
yeah, they're really, really
A little bit
tasty.
here and there, never hurt anybody.
So what happened with you the other night on the biomat?
It was last night.
Yeah, that was last night.
I'm finishing my chips here.
Yeah, I was working on publishing this show with, gosh, we never even talked about our previous guest, Maria Valdivia, right?
Mm-hmm, Valdivia.
I was working on that show, and you were just conked out. I don't even know what you were doing.
So I don't know what I was doing either. This is what's weird. It happened to me. I didn't choose it.
Yeah.
I lay on the biomat every night before bed because it really does have this really profoundly soothing effect on me, and I just go into la-la land like
It's
nobody's
amazing
business.
for your back, too, for my back.
Yeah. So I was on it extra long last night because I've actually felt some kidney discomfort lately, which we can talk about in a few minutes. But I was laying on the biomat, and I popped in my iPod into my ears, and there's this Zen meditation music that just kind of cycles through, and it goes random. So I pressed shuffle, and off I went to my little dream state. So I'm laying on the biomat. I had a dark, because you're working and you have the light on here in the studio. So I had a dark shirt, like one of your t-shirts over my eyes to kind of block out the light. And I'm sitting and I'm starting to go inward and just kind of relax. Maggie's next to me. I was very aware and very conscious for like the first 20 minutes. All these thoughts, like you were talking about, just what I have to do tomorrow. Who did I email? What article do I need to write for Empower Women's? Or, there's all these things going on. And then something happened where I kind of was able to turn that off. And I thought, I'm going to, because I've been reading Ina Segal's book called The Secret of Life Wellness.
That's right.
Yeah. And this book really deals with the chakra systems, and I've known about those systems for a long time. I still don't know how I feel about them, or if, how do
they feel about you?
I think they like me now. After last night, they started liking me. But it's kind of like, how do you put that into your belief system, what you've always known to be true versus what might really be true, and then what can't we see? What do we really know? Yeah. So I'm open to the idea of it, but, her book's making me think, oh, well, why not, try to just close my eyes and envision this healing light and kind of send it down toward my kidneys because that area has been really bothering me while I'm laying on this beautiful crystallized mat, because I thought my back's already starting to feel better just because I'm laying on this thing. So all the thoughts literally just in a few minutes just like went away, and I could the music was just, and it's like I was in this trance almost, and I could actually for the first time see what people are talking about when they talk about your mind's eye, your third eye. I had this gold white kind of sparkly experience, right where they think your third eye is, or they say it might be your pineal gland, whatever's going on in there. And it was like my eyes almost crossed in my sockets, but it's like they crossed way through each other, and it's like I didn't have any eyes anymore. I just was like this. I can't explain it other than in my head, it was just all this weird light going on.
Wow.
So I had the thought, this is really cool. I wonder if I could send that light, like people talk about, down toward my kidneys.
So when your eyes were closed, what were you seeing? Just a bunch of light, or what were you seeing?
It was weird. It was like this yellow gold kind of sparkly light. It's almost like I didn't want to believe it. I thought, the shirt probably came off my eye and I'm seeing the light in the studio or something, because it was almost like that. It was almost like if you close your eyes at the beach, but the sun is really strong, so you feel like you see this yellow through your eyes.
Oh yeah.
It was like that. Where I couldn't focus, like when we go into a room and you look at a candle, you can see the candle. I wasn't seeing it I wasn't seeing the color, but I felt the color, and it's wow. in my mind I could see it. So I can't explain it other than in my mind's eye I saw this color.
Okay.
And I've heard people talk about seeing color, so I was like, okay, maybe that's what this is. So I started envisioning it, I'm gonna just start imagining it going down toward my throat and lighting that up. So I'm trying to kind of move my eyeballs down, wondering if I can direct it. And that was a hard thing what people talk about, to try to move the light and imagine it, because I haven't gotten there by any means, but I was thinking, how do you actually move that and imagine it? So I was trying to more be inside the pathway going down into my body, just looking at certain organs to try to illuminate.
As if you're on a little tiny roller coaster or something, and you're just kind of traveling through.
I was trying.
Yeah.
Kind of like one of those, you're watching, Joe Dispenza, we watched a thing on him, and they're these digitalized videos of neurons, and it's like you're trying to watch how it would be to be inside the body,
right?
And these little flashes of things. So I was trying to do that. Anyway, I felt it as I was thinking, okay, well, now it's down my throat, I'm going to send it toward my liver, gallbladder, pancreas. Those organs actually started I felt them for a minute.
Wow,
that was weird, because I was having a hard time trying to keep the light in those areas, imagine what that would look like, but they obviously were doing something, because they pulsed a little or something strange.
Wow.
And then I sent it down my legs, and they made it to my toes, and my toes started tingling.
Whoa.
And the whole time I'm aware I'm doing this, but I was kind of tripping out, but also I was so out of it, I didn't really know. It's I really felt like I was in this trance or something.
You didn't do any DMT, anything? Nothing?
I did have a chocolate coconut bliss bar before this happened. So maybe they're lacing those with
marijuana bliss bar.
Right.
Wow.
So then I remember them coming to the back of my, my toe, or to the bottom of my toes. And I thought, okay, I'm going to send that back up and try to keep it in my kidneys for a while.
Okay.
So I sent it kind of back up and envisioned it crawling back up, and didn't really feel much in my kidneys, but I thought, that's okay. I wonder if I can make it back up to my head. So I tried to envision it coming back up, and then I somehow made it back up into that space again and saw the weird lights. And then the weirdest thing happened. So that, as if that wasn't cool enough.
Yeah, that's strange.
I kind of wow, that was a journey. I sat there and I realized my breathing, that was probably a 15-minute experience or something, really slow and drawn out. I felt like I probably only took 5 breaths. I probably took more, but it was this breathing I had never known in my life.
So your heart rate was just really low.
I felt like I was dead in a really good way.
Wow.
Yeah, it was and so then I was just kind of aware back in my body of what my breathing was like, and it's my whole body, kind of my rib cage, lift off the floor, I was a worm. You know how you can imagine a worm doing a worm dance?
Oh, I used to do that when I was a kid.
What do you call that? Breakdancing?
Yeah.
It was that flow of if you were to grab a rope and kind of fling it and watch this like snake effect of it going up and down and making these like wave patterns. I felt my body, my breathing became like this wave, and then my diaphragm and my ribs would lift up, and it was like I was breathing, but it was almost like it was doing it for me, this involuntary wave of breathing. I can't even explain it. It was like being out of my body. It was the weirdest thing.
So it was almost like you weren't doing the breathing, you were being breathed or something like that.
Yeah. Like, I felt like I'd plugged into some source and it took over for me. Like I was observing that I was going through this, but I wasn't doing it. I wasn't even consciously, like there was no way, because when I sit down and try to do what you do with meditating and stuff, it's like I have a really hard time stopping and focusing and getting my breathing to slow down or pace up or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not really good at that. Yeah. This was like I plugged in and tapped into something where it took over for me, and I was just like riding it. It was the coolest experience ever.
You ever had an experience like that?
Never.
Nothing?
Not like that.
I don't think I have either. That's wild.
I don't know what happened. Oh, so then the craziest part. So I felt like it came kind of full circle. I'm like, okay, well, I really need to get to bed. It's getting late. I want to wake up tomorrow and do a lot of stuff. So I think you said like, hey, Kate, it's time. And I was like, oh, cool. Because I kind of felt like I'd completed that journey.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. So I took the shirt off my eyes. And I go, I have to tell you about this. And I looked over and I pressed the pause button on my iPod. Yeah. And my eyes are all blurry because I can't see because it's all light out there.
You just came back from the center of the universe.
And I looked at right? And I looked at the name of the song playing, and it said Chakra Journey.
No way.
It's like, what the heck?
That's just what you were on.
That's what I was on. I felt like it was bizarre.
Wow. And you didn't have any of Chris Kaler's energy rings or crystals or anything with you?
Nothing.
Wow.
Nothing.
That is just amazing. Wonder what... See, I think that, we talk a lot about this stuff, but I think that's that kind of experience that you have inside, I think that exists in some other plane. I think that, like, when you have dreams or if you have these visions like this, I think that's probably some sort of alternate reality in the quantum world that somehow you're able to access or get access to or something. That's just a weird thing.
It was so peaceful and beautiful.
Wow.
It was really neat. Yeah, it was like I felt like Tana says in the chat room, I'm definitely having some amazing experiences happening. God is speaking to you in high volumes.
I know, right?
I feel like that is part of what it is. Like when I went to bed after that, I sat there and I just said this prayer to God. I was so honest, and I said, I don't know exactly what's going on anymore. I used to have you all figured out. I had you in a box. Mm-hmm. I got it. You made sense. It was comfortable. And I go, it's a little bit, I'm not scared as much as I am like, wow, this is a while. Like God, you're bigger than I ever gave you credit for.
Yeah.
And whatever's going on, it's not a scary thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just, wow. I'm in awe of what you're doing. And if this is how you want to speak to me, then I'm here.
Yeah.
And that's all I could say. I was like, I'm here. And then I went to bed and slept the whole night through. I didn't even wake up to go to the bathroom, nothing.
Yeah, I do the biomat at different times, but you like to do it right before bed, huh?
Well, especially now.
Yeah. I wonder what's going to happen tonight. What do you think?
I don't know, but I'm very excited.
That's amazing.
It was really, really neat.
Do you think you would have had that experience without the biomat?
That's what I'm interested to find out.
I wonder.
I think it was a really great tool in teaching me maybe how to go there in the future, but I don't know if I would have found it without that tool.
That's a wild thing.
It was really neat.
You had that experience, and we only have the little half one too.
Exactly. Imagine what a full body biomat would do, right?
I know. Wow, what a crazy thing. So how long do you think that lasted? About 15 minutes?
Maybe 15, 20, because I was on the whole thing for over a half hour. And the first, 15 or 20, or probably 20, 25, my thoughts wouldn't turn off. So.
And you had it on high?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I had to kick Maggie off of it, and she was sitting next to me, and
yeah,
she's usually all over me, trying to like do things to me and lick me and get under the blanket with me. And this time she left me alone. She just sat by my right side, and I didn't even know she was there. And I thought, I wonder if she's feeling this energy. Like, so it's pretty weird.
She probably was. Amazing thing. So that ball of golden lights, probably like a healing thing for you in terms of directing that healing energy to different parts of your body.
What I'm thinking. It was illuminating the healing, because I have felt major healing going on in the last few months. So feel like it kind of accelerated and showed me that I can do even more to heal in different ways that I didn't even know were possible.
It's amazing when you are thinking about God and how you used to have them all figured out. And you used to have it all figured out. But then you start realizing there's a lot more. You can't discredit lots of different things. And it's amazing.
It's a gift. It was a really big gift. I'm excited to go there again. I would love to. Yeah.
We're going to have to tell people about Joe Dispenza too.
Oh, Joe Dispenza.
He is so good. We're watching an interview with him and Lisa Garr on Gaiam. I don't know if you guys have Gaiam TV, but it's kind of like Hay House, right? Kind of like a video version of Hay House.
Very much, yes.
Yeah. And he's on that show with her talking about his book. What is it called? You Are the Placebo.
You Are the Placebo.
And he was talking about how I don't even know how to explain what he talks about, but basically how our thoughts and our feelings and our emotions can be pre-programmed at times, and if we're able to express those and direct them towards a future that we want, our body actually doesn't know the difference between the future that we're thinking about or the actual experience of being in that future itself. And so it's almost like a way of time traveling in a sense.
Wow, that is well put.
But our body has to respond in that way because you're already creating the emotions of circumstances that don't yet exist, but they exist in your mind. So your body responds accordingly. He was talking about the different placebo effects that people give, and it's anywhere from 10 to 100%, depending. I think most placebo effects are around the 30% range.
Is that true?
I think so. I've heard that. But he's talking about people that were given sugar pills, and we've read this a lot. People given sugar pills and they heal, and nothing changed. What? How
they were
about
given
that?
fake surgeries,
yeah, and the experience with the asthma medication, the cinnamon.
Oh, that was interesting.
Remember that?
Yeah, he was saying children that were asthma patients were given an inhaler and studied, and along with the inhaler, they had scented the inhaler with cinnamon, so every time they'd spray it, they'd smell the cinnamon. Mm-hmm. Well, little did the kids, unbeknownst to them, they would lower the amount of whatever the medication was,
yeah.
and just fill it more with water and the cinnamon flavor. So soon they had all these children down to almost nothing but just the cinnamon water, and their bronchial passages would have the same response of just smelling the cinnamon. And then he compared it to the Pavlovian response, Pavlov that did with his dog back in the day. And talk about the power of the mind. I mean, if you're having a physical reaction and you're able to talk yourself out of it or think your way out of it or basically reprogram your way out of it, that throws everything that we know to be what we thought was true just out the window.
It completely turns everything upside down. I mean, how are people healing with their mind, with laughter, with intention? How people going down to Brazil saying John of God, healing, doing these psychic surgeries. It's just crazy. I mean, what is that?
Well, I know that Joe Dispenza is meant to be in my life this week because I've heard his name brought up a few times. You and I looked at buying his books. Then I caught him on this interview. And then yesterday, I was driving to the health food store and I pressed a random shuffle on Hay House, and guess what came up? Joe Dispenza.
No way, he's on this year's?
Yep.
Really?
Joe Dispenza.
Wow.
Joe Dispenza's everywhere. So I go, wow.
Did you hear that one?
Yeah, I started it.
Ooh.
But it's the same thing. He's talking about us being the placebo effect. And I also have been reading, it's taking me forever to get through it, but Lissa Rankin, Mind Over Medicine.
Oh, yeah.
Great book. A bit scientific, but also just really fascinating. And she talks about the very same things that Joe does. So I think what I'm supposed to be learning this week is, and this month actually, because I started Lissa Rankin's book way before the Joe stuff, but
for some reason, like you come in contact with his work and his body of work, 3 times in a week?
Yeah. Pay attention, right?
Yeah. Amazing.
So
interesting. Yeah. I put a link to the Hay House in case anyone wants to pick that up, but man, what a interesting guy. I originally first heard about his work from our friend, Dr. Richard Massey.
Was that who you first heard?
Yeah. He mentioned his book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And what's the subtitle? Subtitle is really good too. Something about
change your mind and what is it? How to losing your mind and creating a new one, or something like that.
Yeah, creating a new one or something like that. Sounds like a really good book.
How to Lose Your Mind and Create a New One or
Yeah,
something.
that's right. That's it.
It's really good.
How to Lose Your Mind and Create a New One. Pretty interesting.
Wow.
I love all that stuff.
I know.
Super fun. We didn't even get to half of the different subjects we wanted to get to today.
I know. It's Friday.
It's Friday, and it's so amazing. The weather here is just amazing. Sunny and warm. June day.
This is good because it's almost the longest day of the year. And usually where we live here, it's just overcast and cold until mid-July. We just get this morning fog, cloudiness roll in, and we're always so bummed on it. But this year, it's like, wow, we get to actually celebrate the solstice and the sun. And
I know, right?
We're so blessed. We live in an amazing area.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Regardless of what Fukushima might or might not be doing to us, we're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, first of all, let's just do a quick recap of our shows that we had this week. Yesterday, we had Maria Valdivia. Gosh,
wow.
There's some energetic block with that one, man. I don't know. But she talked about biomagnetic healing, and Tana's in the chat room now, and she was curious, Tana, if you're going to do that, because yesterday you were gung-ho about getting some magnets and doing some biomagnetic healing on yourself. I'm interested to see. If you do it, let us know, because...
we want to know.
Yeah. So that was really interesting. She healed her stage 4 breast cancer.
Yep.
Using biomagnetic healing principles. Really interesting how it changes the pH of the blood and the tissue, and then that affects the viruses that she thinks are causing the cancers.
That was really neat to compare it to the Rife system, where it's going in and actually changing the frequencies at which these diseases can spread and thrive.
I'm glad you brought that up.
I thought that was just interesting because I'd always heard of the Rife, but and what the Rife did, I kind of understand. But yeah, the biomagnetism is like, wow, you're actually changing a pH. It's based on a whole different protocol, really.
A whole different, knowing
a set of principles.
Where these things are located, because they tend to migrate to certain areas of the body. So
weird.
Similar to like polar bears or alligators, you're not going to find those things in different parts of the world. There are specific areas where they like to live. So that was an interesting show. If you're interested in that and her story of how she healed stage 4 breast cancer naturally, really fascinating woman. Then we had Dr. John Apsley on episode 266. Healing cancer naturally with fasting, cleansing, and structured water with high zeta potential.
Ooh, zeta.
Anytime you use that word, zeta potential.
I think Zeta Jones. I think Catherine.
You think Catherine?
What do you think?
I think Kathy Jones.
Kathy Jones.
No, but that was a really interesting show. It got really good towards the end too, didn't it?
It got really good.
He was talking about the structured water and how the water inside our bodies communicates with our moral ability to have morality. It's just, he talked about
the 4-pillar approach.
Man,
he left us hanging though. There was a cliffhanger on that one.
He did. I'll have to talk to him about that. And then we had to episode 265, Kate Rayon Blue.
Oh, she was great.
About avoiding heart attacks, cancer, wrinkles, osteoporosis with vitamin K2, which helps to transport the calcium to different parts of the body, which is really fascinating because a lot of people take calcium because they're getting older, they want strong bones, but they don't realize that excess calcium gets put into your joints or into your arteries.
And it does the exact opposite. It calcifies.
Calcifies you up and makes you stiff and brittle and unable to move, and then it causes heart attacks and cancers. And so
literally what we did right after that show is we got online and we ordered K2.
Yeah, we got some K2.
So that'll be on its way.
You can get that from Amazon if you want to go through our link. We got the Jaro brand, I think.
We did. Jaro,
something like that, yeah. So, yeah, that was a really good show. So, lots of stuff happening at Extreme Health Radio. Then next week, we got Robert von Sarbacher.
Woohoo! I wasn't on him. That didn't sound good. I wasn't on that show last time.
Wow. I wasn't on him then. I'm on him now. I wasn't on him then.
I have a way with words today. It's Friday. My brain is... It was my experience last night.
It was on the biomat.
It frizzled me.
You were going through and healing yourself thinking, Robert von Sarbacher.
I was not.
Robert von Sarbacher.
We're not going to tell him about that.
No, but he developed the mini beet protocol.
Heard about this.
Really
mini
interesting.
Beet.
It's a combination of, I've never done it, but it's juicing beets, green apple, beets, carrots, and asparagus. And
Ew.
it's incredibly detoxifying. So he's just this really wild out there, incredibly enthusiastic health researcher guy. So that'll be a fun show to have him back on. Then we got...
He was one, though, I remember you talking about that I missed the last time when I was going to juice a bunch of beets, and you said, be careful about those beets. You only want a little. I said, why? And you said, there's this thing called the mini beet protocol. To be really careful with beets, and you were acting like it was this like big deal. And so I get to hear it now.
Yeah. It's
good.
really good.
Yeah.
So if you guys are interested, you can go back and listen to the show we did with Robert von Sarbacher. And then on Wednesday, we have Tom Benedict. He's going to be talking about healing with stones.
Ooh.
And he just got done doing what is it called? The show with George Norrie.
Oh, yeah.
Beyond Belief.
Beyond Belief.
Yeah, he flew to Colorado and had a little heart-to-heart with George.
Wow.
So that was pretty cool.
Wow.
So now he's going to be on our show on the 25th.
I'm so excited to have him.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. And then Mr. Adam Bergstrom from Sun Sync Nutrition.
Always an interesting time with Adam.
Sure, we'll go down some kind of wormhole during that show. Right?
Wormholes.
And then next
Black
Friday,
holes.
our Free for All Friday show. So lots of stuff going on. Pretty cool,
Wow.
right?
Very, very cool.
Yeah, lots of stuff. So if you go to extremehealthradio.com/live, you can see our calendar of upcoming shows. You can join the chat room. A lot of people are chatting now, even when there's no shows, which is pretty fascinating.
I love it.
Yeah, quite a community. And then there is a place for you to download all the shows and listen to all the shows. We're working on that app. There's an app there that's right below the chat room where you can listen to the past 30 shows. Working on that, getting that fixed so that you can listen to all of them. But that'll come soon.
Yeah. All in a day's work.
All in a day's work, right?
Right.
As Michael Tim says.
Another day, another $1.50, Justin. Is that right?
That's it. That's his famous saying.
Oh, Uncle Tim.
Uncle Tim from Manly Beach, Australia.
He's great.
So what a show that was, huh?
That was really fun, guys.
Thank you so much. Episode 268. I think it's about time to wrap up. Do you want to do a quote, or do you want to just wrap up, or what?
Let's do a quote.
You want to do a quote?
Yeah, let me find my quote here.
It's time for the quote.
Before we will say goodbye, let's leave you with something to ponder throughout your day. Here's an inspirational quote for this episode.
Just want to let everyone know, too, before you read the quote, that if you guys would like to share our shows on Facebook, I know a lot of you guys do that. If you can do that, that really does help us a lot. We really rely on you guys. And we're 100% listener supported. So if you'd like to send a donation, that's really, really greatly appreciated. We can't tell you how much that means to us to help pay the bills, because they are stacking up a lot. Even that chat room on the live chat, it's $20 a month. It's so lots of expenses for the site. So if you can afford to do that, that would be amazing. But don't feel like you have to. You can shop through Amazon if that's easier for you, to go to extremehealthradio.com/Amazon to make your purchases. Or we have lots of great stuff in our store as well. We're going to be adding to it as time goes on, but we have lots of great products in our store. So check those out as ways to support us, keep the shows free, because we never want to charge anything for these shows. I want to make sure everything stays free so people can send the links to each other. People that need it, like if someone is dealing with breast cancer, they might like to listen to that show with Maria that we just did and not have to pay for it. Right. So I don't want people to have to pay for this stuff. So if you can support us, it's just amazing. If the very least you could do is just share our shows on Facebook, that would just be a huge help. That's about it, right?
I think that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. All right, we got a cool little quote
This quote is
here.
brought to us by Dr. Steve Maraboli. This is good.
I love it.
He says, "When I accept myself, I am freed from the burden of needing you to accept me." How good is that?
That's good.
I'll end with that one more time.
Say that again, yeah.
Okay, let me start again.
Oh, that's good.
When I accept myself, I am freed from the burden of needing you to accept me.
Thank you for listening to this episode.
Maggie says it's time to go for now, but our mission does not end with this show.
Justin and Kate will be back with another interview packed full of ideas, discoveries, and unique ways to regain your health.
Head on over to extremehealthradio.com/subscribe and instantly download our free gift too that contains cutting-edge strategies to start making healthy lifestyle changes today.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even as you educate yourself in the field of live food nutrition and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers or listeners medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease or condition. While information in this blog and during